President Mahama will know no peace from Sam George until he signs that bill.
Sam George don't know or the winning election.
Ade a omo ye da I mean a life that they are living. Name baby a mesi omo kotwa amfoni no e ho na question mark ne wo.
Na Trumu fo a omo free South Africa Leo and Rio omo eba e Ghana ebeji omo ni a menye sure say omo betimi asa aba Ghana bi mfi say no mo mba be ye no tumi say na amanfo nim sei na e koso na pictures ba out amanfo bo fu e fresh Sam George wo hi fi say omo ko Abri Botanical Gardens omo ko Oshafort Museum and omo za ko Kwame Nkrumah Museum ati say aye kama omo ko ji omo ni a ho a ne no e na omo che say e freedom Ghana G independence no a freedom and justice. Be ya say oti won na won kan obia na obi pe say o tra woni gie so na nsem de omo chocho bi pa. Na no omo fresh Sam George no. Sam George before election o kan sem bebre say President John Dramani Mahama obejina no so wo mani nya peace ko pem so obe sign bill no.
Lastly on the LGBT issues. I mean if you get a nod how far would you hope to push it? The president your candidate when he was interviewed on the BBC, he said he would now look into what is in that bill.
You know, that's a misconception that's been put out. And I listened to that full BBC interview. President Mahama has been clear that he will sign that bill, and he has no option than to sign that bill. President Mahama will know no peace from Sam George until he signs that bill. And he himself has said that to the clergy, that as a Christian, as a member of the Assemblies of God Church, he will sign that bill. What the president said to the BBC was in response to why President Akufo-Addo has not signed the bill. And he said to them, now look, what you President Akufo-Addo should have done, instead of rejecting service of the bill, was to have received the bill, stated what his displeasure is with the bill, which is what the Constitution says. The Constitution in Article 1067, President Mahama in his response to the BBC was referring to the Constitution of Ghana. Article 1067 says that when it gets to the President, he must within 14 days indicate whether he would sign or not sign. If he chooses not to sign, he then has to bring it back to Parliament and then state in the memo to Parliament the reasons why he's refusing to sign and add the recommendations to remedy those challenges he sees. Otherwise, within the 14 days, he can refer it within 30 days. He can refer it to the Council of State, who have 30 days to give him advice. That's what President Mahama was saying in that BBC interview. He was not saying that he now has to read the bill. President Mahama has read the bill. It's because he's read the bill that he told the clergy that when he becomes president, he will sign the bill, because President Mahama has no problem with anything in the bill. That explanation he was given was basically what the president should have done as a lawyer in line with our constitution, because the president's decision not to have service of the bill on him is unconstitutional and shows you how reckless and irresponsible Akufo-Addo is as a president.
Among for the go on about Sam George so no a program Ho and Oba Accra no and Obetro on Facebook say I have just returned to Accra from Ho in the Volta region where I attended the climax of our successful Girls in ICT program. I have seen numerous tags and posts about the abhorrent disrespect of our culture and values by two useless individuals. The disrespect of our national symbols is despicable, to say the least. However, I am shocked to see apologists of the MPP calling on me and demanding action. What a shameless lot. We are where we are today without a strict legislation on these ills because former President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo failed and blatantly refused to sign the Family Values Bill into law after Parliament of Ghana, and the court had cleared the bill. You defended the immoral stance of President Akufo-Addo, then today you want to pontificate. How dare you? I have, along with my colleague in Parliament, resubmitted the Family Value Bills. It has gotten Mr. Speaker's approval and should be laid for the first reading any moment soon. The values, morals, and innocence of our children must be protected. I would demand that President John Dramani Mahama sign the bill when we get it passed again. My position has not changed, but I despise hypocrites. Law enforcement must identify the two miscreants in the viral photos and apply the full rigors of existing laws on them for God and country. Into what I was Sam George say, and yes, what kind no onye you super na previous government MPP time no omo clear bill no because another dank akufado an sign. Into one colleague parliamentarians omo guso omo di dwuma na nko de obepese mra bi anka wo ho ebetimi edi sa ankofo mienu dwuma yi tumu fo dwuma yi na ka eni omo ndipa na sa asem we Peter Nochi ene Okatakyie Afrifa a react
wo hu memu amienu ya omo gina we omo gina Ghana ye Independence Square ena omo di odo a omo twa kisi sa no omo free baabi aba no omo bedi omo holidays na emu baabi omo gina ye Independence Square wona omo gina na omo twa kisi no mra ana anyemra omai Ghana mu ankasa no yen sheda ma ho kwan enya I mean said your friend Trumu to 4 pema omo se omo timi ye ni said omo pe bia ene ma ne ma mema ne mema said omo pe especially baby omo ko gina ya omo se atwa mfuni no a omo di omo do no eho na question mark ne wo tie sa asem wi pa ne hye ne so sa mamu amienu wi baby omo gina no Independence Square won ya twa freedom and justice etiem fa ne se omo di omo nim omo di omo ko holidays wo Ghana and omako gina Independence Square actual freedom and justice into the thing say maybe they are free to do whatever they like and live their life because baby omo free bano they are free to live their life and make the choices of their life say omo peno they mo my Ghana the entisa mamu amienu wi edro ya omo kodi eyese mra so omo mu ana se eyese mra twe omo so ana se die na yesusu se eyese embra edo omo ye because nipa no ebia no omo ni mu hwe no omo ye but we say Ghana for dodo no a kan wasem because especially ye tag Sam George because Sam George this answer we mu akutini pa yinim se brebi atwam Sam George bi gina mu chinchine atwan se ye mpene emma Trumutu oba na oba emma embedi akutini wo Ghana omo be hye mra atia sa ade no now sa mamu amienu we ade ye omo ye ade a omo ye da I mean a life that they are living name baby a mesi omo kotwa amfuni no eho na question mark ne wo now die ne mra e kan fa ho baby omo twa amfuni no obi antimi a instruct omo say no you people can take photos wo betimi a na mo pe name mo ntimi ni sa odo no ha because Ghana ye ma ho kwan se be ma ne be ma timi di odo meaning so obi an sheda instruct omo ankasa na aye de omo pe no omo ko na omo de abeto online na ye Ghana fo ye hu ne ye ka ho asem now enkrofo ne ye be mo ma delete omo videos no omo be delete omo pictures no ana ye be kwa akwachi omo ana amra be twe omo aso die na mra no ene ne be kan omo nye Ghana fo omo free baabi na aba mesi dodo no aye enye se Trumutu no be ma ne oba no eni Ghana wo moye na emombo bia ye no ne kukuam enhye da nye public enya ade a eda badwam sa na we mu ne de abeda badwam ena asa koda ye Independence Square freedom and justice bua ye star ne sa boso eho ana think say Ghana for problem minua wonso wadwen kire ne sei minim sesese no se de Ghana for ye pushi no yen koche nkrofo no mienu ana se yen hwemra se Independence Square ho no ami obema ne bema ntimi nyina onkodi do oba na oba ntimi nyina onkodi do ana e ho no kra yen kogina ni do ana die na mra no ebe kan fa ho na Independence Square ho no so ye ni obi a ogina wa ohwese ne me ekoyi ana enkoyi eda ho kwasa a ye free obi atimi koye de opa na ene ne se niema bebre betimi akoso gwei e ya adwene kire menu mienu ya dwenkyere die ne mra no ebe ya afa sa de hu die ne mra no ebe ye sa mamu amienu wi die no be kan afa ho igusu ade ni hwe because Ghana fo egusu epushi asem no epese drum panyufo ni hwede panyufo so meka
Trumu ni ade me nka bi me on be kra Flagstaff aso Jubilee aso on be kra mfa ho nya brodel mo fa ho na nya jo mama na ndi Andrew Solomon koda ampaso
Yohanena
Shaban
jo mama na ndi Andrew Solomon so koda ampaso enti we no ye news ni dia Sam George oni weka akufo ado na nke yitwa ne asofo ne so mo ayedin na me na me koka bi imam fo ayedin ana wo ma be gina ye Independence Square no ma ye photo shoot fefi o ma no wow
omo wi abehye nkoma kese
mo wane ko mo Fabio parliament ani mo no mo kwan no meda ho why mo mfa katemra me ni hweka and I was my policy, my principle on this matter, and they say, agenda setting no more
Precisely.
Continuously.
Expose
they
them.
try to put these things in the public domain for a conversation. First, I go you can't be in Trumu. Na untimi mosokra in society.
Precisely.
Also, I normal.
Exactly.
I boss in the society. You can't want some normal. You know what they are doing?
Expose them.
I keep telling people, say, Mono ya nyoma buga buga. Some George, what the kaka, or winning, not winning in tia. You free so, I'm on my Dare.
Papa,
you
see, now the more we have these kind of conversations in our public space, okay, in our media circles, the more it gets normalized on the psyche of the people.
Exactly.
And over movies be no. Osha 1, 2, 3 scene piano. And so some judges what them record. So what then will happen is that give it another 10, 15 years. The kind of people who and the engineer yabo Trumu asem so ni ani abre ho bebre no is because ye nyini ba na ya de tiny and party. Now gradually the society will get to a point where you this ankomo yama and normalize it.
Exactly.
In the 1950s now Britain you choose so Trumu ubeko jail enti wombe ya na sa why we no most like come once some judge do ni hwe or the winning election keke oni hwe
Baby Jata.
oni baby jata first lady bodyguard ni you was out say we do want to show our birthday picture ma power for us some go we me just say power dey ayi carry gana do we buy fantastic guys who continuously. The more you have this Trumu conversation, give it another 10 years. And go for a good parliament be pass it.
Precisely. Exactly.
Because at that time, when you mention Trumu, it does nothing to their brain. A psychological impact.
Exactly.
When you are reorienting people, you have these kind of conversations in the public domain. And they themselves will decide. Why? Until see a banning movies via a Netflix and yet until see a baby is answer who na free media space
Exactly.
Abusua adwumapa on demand service for na eka say adwumapa on demand for say o pese wo di dwuma bia nkankangana fo am obrochire a obehia nipa didi so yi a tilers anasa building constructors fashion designers chese auto mechanic bia o pese wo di say adwuma bia ma no obekọ ye app no so na wa download adwumapa on demand service ayansa so abekọ www.adwumapa-on-demand-service eno so bekọ ko hu adwumadi edi nyina ni Trumu po nyina ne se ye boawo ema wokọkọfo obi ana wodi dwuma bi a nipa a wokọkọfa no esansa wonim na kira kwan bia nti no to bi kura nipa na gisika wie open here na hu no adwumapa on demand fo aba ama sa ha nyina afiri ho esansa obi bia ya de be ma so woni dwuma bia ma no ya ye background checks ehu se se nipa yi onim ne wo ye enye kwanche trefa ni bia wonim de wo ye ene ye fa no edna ma wo na nigisem ba ko omu ne se onipa bia de be ma wo a odi be di dwuma bia no sabe background no sem anase si ebu afaso pade a enya de besi na wanso san nim se sabe ko soja mumpo a ye wo military police ono so soja ni ochi soja ni eno me kire mu se eye adwumapa on demand for no ye sanso supervisors a abre nyina no omko rounds eko check se adwuma na nipa no de beda ye no sa pepepe ene ye no na se adwumapa on demand de omama adwuma no aye simple se bibi ni ena onte ase ampacho no wafa numbers no aye gusuo no no wafre